Welcome to the world, no heroes and villains. Welcome to a war we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your bones, go and take it. This is your moment, now is your time. So prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Rise, push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Rise. Welcome to the climb up, reach for the summit. Visions brave and one false step lead the end. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your blood, go and take it. This is your moment, take to the skies. Go prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Rise, push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. It is you fight among the dead, beneath the dirt. Or do you know yet? Or do you want it? And when the giants call to ask you what you're worth, or do you know yet? We don't die. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Rise, push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Pick up your weapon and face it. Rise, deep in your blood, deep in your blood, go and take it. You can chase it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to TCWC Melee. How are we all doing? How are we doing? And yes, Toadstool, I do still require the Ghostbusters. They are still needed. However, there are not too many promos today, so I think I'm going to be jumping into things relatively quickly. I have to say my voice appreciates that there's too much to say outside of commentary today. Hello, Blitz. You are just on time for the official start. How are you doing, good sir? How are you doing? However, our first match for the evening. I need to talk, damn you. No, sir, no. You don't need to do it. You don't need to. You want to. Sorry, I got sent a message. I was in the middle of my spiel. However, our first match for tonight is going to be the rematch between Selena Shade and Sophia Griffin. I do want to. At least you know what you desire. How's the day been? You're not scheduled to fight tonight, so I'm surprised you're here. In character, not your character. I know, I appreciate you, Blitz. I'm more so making talking about Jackson being on commentary. You are not allowed to yell my name. Why not? But it's fun. But it's so much more fun to yell your name. Who agreed to this? That's Harold's job. I see. You guys have the same orange, so I didn't even look at who said Jackson. Good lord. I was just automatically assuming that was directed at me being mean.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the Women's Zone Championship.
I can't tell whether or not you're actually a letter orange or not, Blitz. Or if you're trying to gaslight me right now. However, entering first, it is the witch, Selena Shade, looking to regain the belt that she lost a few nights ago at Blockade. Shade has been uncharacteristically quiet about it in backstage and online. Only thing that she has really stated has been to Helen when they had a brief conversation backstage. However, we will have to see if she has learned from the mistakes that she made at Blockade, or if she's going to continue the self-sacrifice style and hope that it pays off for her this time. Entering next, it is your reigning Skyline Champion. It is Sophia Griffin. What is putting concern in the Herald? Griffin has had a bit of a situation develop around her in her time here in TCWC's last two seasons. Fell last year after being the Skyline Champion for a significant amount of time to Sky Flores. But is this a step in the right direction? Or is that victory at Blockade a fluke?
Introducing the challenger. From Blackpool, England, the witch, Selena Shade.
Look at these fans here, ladies and gentlemen, fired up and ready to go and ready for the action of melee. Jackson, you commentated on the match. I'm so proud. In the center of the ring, relatively quickly, it is Sophia and Selena, but Shade actually getting into a little bit of a grapple with the much younger Griffin. Bit of a risky maneuver that has not paid off for very quickly. It is actually going to be Griffin in control of this exchange. Now, however, nice transition by the part of Selena. Gets out of that headlock, and now hammerlock is applied. Actually getting a nice bit of torque onto the arm, and Griffin's looking a little bit powerless to get out of the situation. Is she going to prove me wrong? She is. Finds a nice little reversal on that hold. And now, getting nice torque is the current champion. Selena looking for an opportunity to escape, but can she find it? Actually let go of that hold and straight back into a headlock. Nice escape, though, on the back end of that headlock for Selena. And nice fighting to roll up now onto the current champion. But it is not enough to even beg for a 1 count. Tries to go for the ropes, actually does escape. And now gets her caught up in another set of grapples. However, very quickly loses control of that hold, and a nice combination of strikes out from Griffin. Repeated kicks to the legs, and now final parting slap, and she goes for this hold herself. However, after that exchange, it is going to be Selena who showed a little bit more power on the back end of things. However, now punching her back into the corner, Griffin forced to find a counter to escape, and a nice clothesline. We've got one, but only going to be one. This move will indeed help. One has to get the upper hand here, but it seems that Griffin has it for a short period of time. However, nice little roll-up from Selena yet again. Looked away for a moment, and Shade back in control. And now Griffin forced yet again to find a very similar counter from one not too long ago. Being dragged over to the opposing corner now. Selena unable to find the same counters that Griffin did, and now repeated kicks into the upper part of the chest and into the shoulders. I think that was a bit of a choking little stomp there on the part of Griffin. Tanner doing a good job of making sure that holds was not held on to for more than 5. However, that attempt at a spear almost completely whiffs. Tries to take down Shade. Neither one of them quite getting what they want, but Sophia has recovered just a little bit faster. Off the ropes, but cannot land that elbow. Just misjudges it. But a nice counter on her part means that she is still the one in control of the pace of things. Currently, Challenger doing her best to show that was a fluke victory at Blockade. Nice knee strike out of Shade. She's heading up to the top rope. What does she have in mind? Cannot quite find that sense on. However, Griffin chucking her outside of the ring. This is where things turned at Blockade. It was Selena who initiated the situation. However, broken wings. Griffin currently the one in control of this match. As I was saying, that this is actually where Selena managed to lose control of things, and Shade is very close to the end of this match for She has to fight back into some measure of control and gets onto a good set of steps, finds a good leg sweep, but needs to be aware that Griffin is looking for that Talon setup at any moment at this point. 10 points for Griffin there. Nice takedown into a little bit of a arm-trapped crossface, but it is going to be a quick escape for Zofia. Griffin, Talon misses. Trying to find a little bit more offense now. Looking for a pin off of that little backbreaker. There's one, there's two. About a 2.5 for the current champion. But she cannot put away Shade. From the top, actually calling her back up to her feet. Former mentor up in the air, and a nice crossbody from Griffin. She is hoping it's enough. There's two, and still no three. It has been a very, very good exchange thus far. I think Zofia was actually at that point looking for another Talon, but she has been caught with the Crescent, and, however, breaks out of it very quickly. And looks for the Talon for the third time. Quick takedown. Zofia's got to kick out, and solidly does. Selena, I think, looking a little bit desperate there. However, finds the Eclipse. There's one, there's two, but there's not gonna be a three. Selena off the ropes, going for another splash. Hello, Shoshila. And Selena finding that Hex. Is this over? There's one, there's two, there is three. Selena Shade recaptures the Skyline champion after Griffin repeatedly misses Talon after Talon. That kick could just never find its mark, and while Zofia was able to survive one bloody eclipse, the Hex was a step too far. I've got to give my props to Selena and Zofia. They tried very hard to get into control early on in this match. Zofia had a very strong early lead in this, but Zofia has fallen. I commentated, are you proud of me? Yes, I am proud of you, Jackson. I am proud of you.
Here is your winner, and new Women's Zone Champion, the Witch, Selena Shade.
And once again, we are under the reign of the Witch Shade. I was staring somewhere, that's how I was so focused. God damn it. How dare you? How dare you? Give me just a moment to update the champion news, and then we shall proceed with the evening. But that was a very nice opener to the evening. And I don't think anyone is going to be happy to see this belt back on Selena. Boom. What did I do? I know euphemisms. Have any of y'all seen the weird tweet of an account called Shrade? Yes, I have. Again, good save. I have seen a number of weird tweets coming out of that account, Shrade. The weirdest part about it to me is I think this was an account I already had followed. However, sending repeated cryptic messages, including one that has been successfully decrypted by the likes of Blitz Danger, that said, "You forgot me, left me in the dark, and moved on. I was a guiding hand, but now illuminate the path and only see your bodies." The immediate downvote on the champion news. Gotta love it. However, the next match up is going to be a trip over to the Revolution division. It is going to be Damian Morris taking on Halil Aydin. And Halil did have some words before this match. "I know I have not talked much since getting here. I wanted to learn the language a bit better than I had before I came out here and talked. And now we are here. You have heard what the commentators have had to say about me, and they aren't entirely wrong. The difference is that they have painted me as some kind of monster. A sadist who just wants to inflict pain. But no. If I wanted to do that, I would not have left Turkey. I would not have left Europe and the Middle East behind me. I was getting bored back there. I had taken every ring given to me and turned it into a ground for me to play in. The competition stale. And as we have seen, I was perhaps unprepared for what you here in the circuit had to offer me. But that will be changing tonight. I lost my place for the Revolution Gauntlet. I lost my place again and again. But the winds are changing. And it is time for you to all learn why the people back home feel the name Aydin. However, can he live up to these words and change the way things have been going for him? Wait, what was the... You can't blame me, a 22-year-old, for looking at that. Enough talking. Back to the action. I'm gonna get my ass beat by the women's division if I can continue. Oh my god. Blitz, if you continue with that talk about Shade, you might have someone else to worry about, Jackson. You might have someone else to worry about if you continue with that talk about Shade. Because Shade is taken. Damian Morris. Hopefully everyone is back from ads at this point. Oh. Harold, are you mad at me? A little. I wouldn't say mad, just disappointed. In the most literal sense.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring, representing the Awesome Ones from Chicago, Illinois, weighing in at 198 pounds, the Dragon, Damian Moore!
Just watch out for Gage. That's all I can really say, Jackson. Just watch out for Gage. However, entering the ring now, it is one half of the prodigies of TCWC. Damian Morris has not quite found the path he would like here for himself, even if Leo Carr has become a staple in the main event scene. But can Morris carve his own place and push his way through the Revolution division and into a secure spot into that gauntlet? That is what we will have to see, and his opponent's not going to want to give up that opportunity.
And his opponent from Istanbul, Turkey, weighing in at 202 pounds, Haley Aiden.
Apparently they've taken away Aiden's music, but Halil is still searching for his first real bit of momentum here in the circuit. We have heard that he is frustrated and that he was admitting to being unprepared for what the people here had to offer. But can he turn things around for himself? Or is he going to be stuck in this rut? Damian Morris very quickly finding the offense onto Aiden. Halil still perhaps a bit unprepared. Off the ropes goes Morris, and a nice little moonsault found. Stomping to the arm and continuing the offense onto the back of Aiden. And Morris looking hyped up early on. Finds a nice counter and now got him caught. Is this grappling going to continue going the way of Morris? He gets a nice bit of torque onto the abdominal section of the torso. But can he get anything more, really? He actually finds a nice little hip toss. Locks in a headlock, and Halil needs to fight back up to his feet, but he cannot do so. Morris, nice maneuvering, is in complete control thus far. Initiating another grapple is Morris. Another headlock applied. Can Halil get back any measure of control? He finally is able to. Hammer lock variation applied, trying to get torque onto the shoulder of Morris. Well, it's not typically the offense I would suggest against a high flyer. Sometimes the needs must. However, reversing that hold is Morris. A nice technical bout thus far from these two. I believe Bro just slept with the phone on his hands. What does that mean? What does that mean? Morris finds himself countered. Nice fireman's carry takeover. And back to work on the shoulder is Halil. Morris able to fight his way out of that hold. He's got Halil off the ropes and finds a nice little drop kick. into a nice kick up into the jaw of Halil, and Aydin still not able to find any consistent counters thus far. Nice attacks under the leg of Aydin, and Morris up from the top rope. Lines one up, but cannot find that I believe was a 450, and finds himself eating that SOS. We've got a 1, we've got a 2. Morris almost finds himself rolled up after missing his shot. And Aydin following it up with a moonsault, coming back on all cylinders. Perhaps it was a bait to get Damien into a sense of false security, but a good combination of has Halil making a bit of a rally at this point. Oh, strayed. Fair enough. Aydin waiting for Morris to rise up, and he's got him set up for a nice 19-16. There's 2. There is 3. What? Halil gives Morris that false security, gets him to go for that moonsault, and when it does not pay off, Damien very, very quickly eats a brutal series of attacks. SOS almost takes him out, and then unprepared for the 19-16 that followed. And Halil Aydin finds a much-needed win. And it is all smiles from Halil. That was a surprisingly solid match. However, next match up, we are going to be headed over to the Women's Ascendant division, where there has been a rivalry brewing. Casey Lee made an enemy of her former friend Danny Fonseca a few weeks ago, and repeatedly interfered in matches from Danny, including the matches that lost her Ascendant Championship. And now, after a very, very long time of having to stare at each other from across the backstage locker rooms, they are finally meeting in this ring. But who is going to pull out this win? Is it going to be the former Capital Champion that is Casey Lee? Or is it going to be one of the longest reigning Ascendant Champions we have had here in the circuit, in Danny Fonseca? And Jackson, to go back to the elaborating on the disappointment, I don't think you require elaboration. I think you're a big boy.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making her way to the ring from Apple Valley, Minnesota, Casey Lee!
Casey is a bit of a dark horse when it comes to the circuit. Was very, very briefly a consistent member of main event matches, but has seemingly lost her touch, and instead of trying to correct her own mistakes, has turned things on to Danny and Bennett, claiming that they are the ones who stole her spotlight, even if for an extended period of time. They weren't even on the same show. This is stay focused, Jack.
And her opponent, representing the Originals from Dayton, Ohio, Danielle Fonseca.
Danny Fonseca is someone who's been very, very consistently at the top of her game recently when it comes to singles competition over in the Ascendant division. While things have not been kind to her since the beginning of this season, her only match is very quickly giving her a brutal series of losses. She is hoping to finally turn things around. I can't focus under these conditions. God damn it. Damn it, Jackson! Jackson! Nice offense quickly from Lee, who's hoping for an early pinfall off that cross body, and actually gets a 1 count out of Danny. Fonseca not expecting that level of aggression off bat, it seems. Lee calling Danny back up to her feet. And now off the ropes, it is going to be Casey, but a nice reversal. Which one is going to get control of this match at the moment, hotly contested. And now a bit of a grapple match that Fonseca gets the upper hand in. But into the corner they head and referee in to break things up. Actually got, and a nice little bulldog out of Fonseca. Jackson shakes head and closed eyes. I'm just gonna do this again. Fonseca eyeing up and attempting to rise. Lee finds a nice little somersault leg drop. And now trying to go onto the work of Casey. Lee has a definite power advantage over Danny in this matchup. So wise decision to try and take out the base of her strength. But is it going to be enough? Back into this bit of a contested grapple. Popular tonight. However, it is going to be Casey who gets control of this hold. Nice torque onto the shoulder for the moment. Continuing to cinch in the hold is Lee. And now getting it swapped into that hammerlock. Danny needs to get out of this hold in the near future, or this is going to end very, very badly. Without the strength, I'm not sure that Lee is going to get any threat from Danny's crossface at all. However, finally getting control to some degree is Danny. Ate a lot of offense, but Casey quickly back into control and has rolled up Danny. We've got only a 1 count for now. Hernandez's chauffeur watches the show. I forgot. Harold Hyde. I can't hide you. Fonseca trying to find a little bit of a cutter setup, but cannot quite do so. But that was a nice bit of offense through the torque onto the arm. However, now Danny set up on the ropes, finds a nice cross body, finally returning the favor from how this match opened up. And now broken embrace, crossface locked in, but there is a fast rope break card. Casey not where she wants to be right now. Big forearm smash, but this Bulldog cannot land. Very nice clothesline out of Lee. Now Casey gets it rolled over and the triangle choke has been locked in, but Danny quickly gets back some level of control. Repeated forearms do force Casey to break up that hold, and now caught with a big forearm to the back of the head. You can try. The end. Jackson just gets dragged out of the booth. Nice series of elbows to the gut of Casey by Danny. And now Fonseca looking to maintain control here. We're up to a 4 of 15 in just a moment. And currently, Danny getting control of this match. But as I speak, Casey does find a counter. And now goes for a disrespectful almost thunderclap. However, Danny trying to get the momentum, but cannot get Casey back into this ring. It is going to be Lee now calling up Fonseca. Dragged up. And a rictus delivered by Casey Lee. And that is it! Casey Lee takes the win over Danny Fonseca. The early momentum that went in favor of Lee proved just a bit too much to overcome for Danielle. And KC able to seize back control as things slowly started to go her way outside of the ring. Found the reversal on that Irish whip, stepped in and immediately put her away with the rictus she has taken from Hannah Mortis. No problem. I'm sure I was very, very helpful in this situation, but I definitely didn't call her. That was a fast match overall. However, next match up, we're going to be headed over to the tag division, where there's going to be one half of one of the tag teams making their debut. It's going to be the Kabuki Cutthroats taking on the Davashone Dynasty in just a moment. Where is everyone I need? Senton in your future. I know there's a Senton in my future. We already agreed to that match, Jax. We agreed to fight each other. I know there's a senton in my future. This time I'm prepared. This time, the meta will be on my side. Did you call her? I didn't call her. You would have heard me calling her. Is going to be Yuri Yasukawa and her debuting partner
The following
in
is a tag
Hana
team match set for one
Sakamoto.
fall. On the way to the ring, the Prodigy, Hana Sakamoto, and the Ghost, Yuri, the Kabuki Warriors.
I don't know much about the background of this pairing. However, Yuri Yasukawa, unsurprisingly, has friends across the way into Japan. But will they be able to find a win in their debut? This must be a night of debuts. Oh, the next 2 weeks are a lot of debuts and returns.
And their opponents, to the air, Show and Evelyn Show.
She's still standing there. Best behavior, Jackie. However, welcome in the Show Dynasty. It is your Duke and Duchess, Pierre and Evelyn Show. They will only ask you once to kneel. Starting in the ring for both sides, it is going to be Hannah taking on Evelyn, and Hannah finds a very nice dropkick into a moonsault early on, hoping for an early pin, and Pierre in to break things up very quickly. We will not be able to know how close that was going to be to an early end to this tag team competition. However, Hannah continues to stay on the offense despite Evelyn attempting to find some manner to come back. And now headed in, it is going to be Yuri. Kazukawa finding a nice Irish whip into the ropes. However, Evelyn finally finding some counterattack. Nice counter and into a brutal series of punches and a stomp to send a final little message on the way out. However, as you can see here, there is a little bit of a size disparity between Evelyn and the Kabuki Cutthroats. Well, to be expected from the part of the Duke, Evelyn is not a slouch when it comes to being a bit of a powerhouse. When it comes to the women's division, Yuri, much more of a technician and high flyer, but not stopping from finding some good offense right now onto Pierre. And a nice set of knees to the gut of the Duke. Pierre rolled over, and another dropkick to the back. Yasukawa in complete control over the Dynasty at the moment. Cutthroats ready to try and put a man away. However, Pierre finds one counter, but just stands there and waits. Yuri tries to find more offense and quickly both gets out of the way of that knee and finds a bit of a code breaker in her own right. And now Pierre bravely playing with the ropes on the same side as Sakamoto. Surprisingly, Hannah does not intervene there. However, Yuri finding a counter to give back into some manner of control, but reversed on the Irish whip. And there is a big dropkick to the knee of Yuri. Pierre continuing to bring offense onto the legs of Yasukawa. I very much dislike Automod. What happened? Oh. Sorry, I had a different part of that open. Mystic Garrison. Who's Mystic Garrison? Yuri back in control of this matchup, and now returning the favor for the repeated attacks onto the legs of Pierre now. Yasukawa has got the Duke back on his feet just to deliver him into the corner of the Kabuki Cutthroats, and Hannah and her back in for a nice double flapjack. Pierre rolling out of the ring, something that Sakamoto had already prepped for. And now delivering solid stomps to the hand of Pierre. Yuri looking for some offense of her own onto the Duke at the moment, it seems. And not quite chucking him back into the ring, but a little bit of an anti-synergy there when it comes to what they were looking for that situation. However, Pierre has found himself caught in a bit of a double team. He found some counters, but now brought up onto the shoulders of Hannah for a nice little dragon suplex. Get out of the way of that little knee drop, and it is back in favor of the Duke for now. And outside of the ring, Price of Insolence is locked in. We are up to a 10 of 15. Pierre rolled back into the ring by Hannah. Sakamoto back in immediately to follow. And finally, things re-enter the ring. It's a South Park reference, you uncultured swine. Yeah, South Park was ruined for me before I ever had the chance to watch it. Pierre playing loose with the rules, but it does not benefit him. But, I mean, lovely Arena Hill. I'm trying not to get punched for a 5th time tonight. Someone save me, please. Not sure what Hannah was looking for, but a nice clothesline found by Evelyn. Quick kick out by Sakamoto, and she does manage to get back control of things. Sets her back up in her own corner. And Evelyn, kick to the knee, and now nice combination of strikes out of Hannah, but it does not land on that roundhouse. And there's a nice power slam. And now getting her turned over. We got a bit of a cloverleaf locked in from a kneeling position. However, broken out of relatively quickly, but not before Yuri stepped in. However, is this enough? Exhaustion not yet playing a role. Only got a 2 count. However, lined up for the Vachon guillotine, and this might be it for Hannah Sakamoto and the Kabuki Cutthroats, and it is the Davashone Dynasty take the win. Was that a blatant rope break? Let me re-look at when I get the chance to see it. I was not looking for the ropes when I was doing that one. When it gets to the replay, I will tell you whether or not that was a very blatant rope break that just went unnoticed. Oh, okay. So that's just cheating. So
Here are your winners, Evelyn Devashone.
that's something that's more of like a suspension of disbelief way of cheating. In theory, doing that is getting more weight onto the person, so they have a harder time kicking out. I can't think of a biomechanical way that would at all be harder to kick out of. If I think it would be easier, if anything, biomechanically. But suspension of disbelief, that is a way to cheat to get an easier pin. I can't leave the booth here. What have you done? I didn't do anything to you. You made your own decisions. I think there is a name for it. I don't remember the actual name for it. I just know it as his feet are on the ropes to try and get leverage. I've never heard an actual name set up for it. It's not leverage, but if someone does know an actual name for that, please tell me. Seesaw pin? I thought a seesaw pin was more of a... would have been more of like a leverage pin. Do they call it a seesaw pin? Help yo mama! Give me just a second. I'm gonna do a quick Google search. I'll see if I can find the name for that. Yeah, as far as I can tell, they just call it feet on the ropes. I can't find a more specific name than that. You called Eliza, I swear I'm gonna hit you. You can hit me tomorrow. You can hit me tomorrow. However, next match up, we're going to have another trip over to the Ascendant Division. This time it is going to be a debuting luchador going up against Ralph Fresnetti. I'm going to be honest. I am going to desperately try and pronounce this in Spanish. I do not speak Spanish. I know bits and pieces of it. But I'm going to try, and then I'll give the translation. The luchador had some words to say, and it is: Vengo volando como un murciélago del infinio por una cosa parece el hombre que domina a todos en mi camino con cuidado de no quimer. Quimer? Quimer. I'm going to assume that is quimer. However, the translation is: I come flying like a bat out of hell for one thing. To the man who dominates everyone in my path. Careful not to get burned. And welcome in, Damacons. And so, to explain the weird rope break thing again, the idea in the suspension of disbelief that comes with wrestling is that putting your feet up on the ropes is supposed to give you an advantage on the pin by basically making it harder to kick out. So it's a way to cheat to get a more solid pin in. Yeah, the idea is leverage. I can't think of a single way that would actually help you in this case. I think it'd be way easier to push someone up if their legs were just kind of in the air, but that's me. Meanwhile, Harold does nothing. You did it to yourself. This is about justice. This is about justice, Jackson. But, oh, what is the thing that is called rope break? So a rope break is when the person being pinned touches the ropes. Or has a submission locked in on them.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, weighing in at 218 pounds, the Devil!
You're not stupid, Mama Harold. You don't watch wrestling that much. However, making his way to the ring, it is now a luchador to finally make El Tigre not alone here. It is El Diablo.
And his opponent from Madison, Wisconsin, weighing in at 263 pounds, Ralph Brasnani!
The question, it may sound far-fetched. What if El Diablo is straight? Sorry, different question. What was the other question? Can Ralph not choke another match away? That is the question. Could you make me a female cop? I am willing to do that, Blitz. I am willing to do that. El Diablo does not find an early offense, but Ralph cannot stay in the offense himself. A lot of kicks coming out early in this match between the two of them, but it is El Diablo being the first one to find more than just a bit of offense before a counter. And now Diablo lined up on the ropes and calling for Fresnetti to rise up. Himself up and cannot find that drop kick, unfortunately. And now El Diablo finding a nice counter onto Ralph Fresnetti and continuing to work on the larger man's torso at the moment. Rolled face down. However, Fresnetti finding a nice dragon screw. However, pops back up, but the angry Wisconsinite cannot find anything more. Nice backdrop. El Diablo trying to get the crowd involved behind him as Ralph Fresnetti rises back to his feet. Nice combination of strikes and a shining wizard-style knee. And it is going to be Ralph setting himself in the corner. And he does manage to pull himself up just in time to evade that dropkick. Now looking to make his way into a leverage pin here, but cannot find it. Big kick, and now El Diablo back up to the top rope. Cannot find that knee drop and goes straight into a leg drop by Fresnetti. Ralph has got the debuting El Diablo up in the corner, and now going after the arm is Fresnetti. Now, I would say just based off of the high-flying tendencies that El Diablo has already shown, that arm is a strange, strange target. However, nice series of counters between the two of them, and there is a welcome to Wisconsin. Big headbutt out of Ralph Fresnetti, but he can only find a 2 count. This time he's trying to get all of his weight down, but pops up at 1. However, he's got the man up into a power bomb position. Fresnetti tossing him down with a fall from grace almost. But there's a nice roll-up out of El Diablo to try and get some momentum back. I think that was less about truly trying to get a pin in and more about trying to find some level of offense. But there's a nice deep 6. We've got 1, we've got 2, and barely kicking out is El Diablo. Fresnetti cannot find that elbow drop, and the luchador got Fresnetti over and over the top rope. If this was a Rumble, the man would have just taken his win. However, takes his time to get up to the top. Does manage to get the range in for that axe handle. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. Was it Gary, Gerald, Jimmy Sierra? Hey, Applejack, how are things going? Nice takedown. It was Harold, Eliza. Harold. Like someone who delivers messages. Not a mailman. We're up to a 5 of 15. 6 now, and Fresnetti on the bad end of most of this on the outside of the ring, repeatedly now thrown into that ring post, and there is blood on the face of Fresnetti. Hi, Carol. God dang it. Fresnetti back in and trying to get back to action, but the referee actively getting in the way of that power bomb. El Diablo finds a nice drop kick. Fresnetti wisely steps outside the ring, but immediately rolls back into the face of Diablo. And we got a little bit of a mushroom stomp. And that immediate roll in may have cost him, but that senton does not land. And now set up and thrown across the ring is Diablo. Fresnetti calling for him to rise up. There is a lot of anger on the face of this man. Gets a little away from it, more distance, but that axe handle cannot land. Nice punch to the gut now And now he's got El Diablo off the ropes. What does Fresnetti have in mind? Nice little power slam. Looking for that diving headbutt, but he cannot land it. El Diablo sizing up Fresnetti. Got him up. And a nice pile driver. We've got one, we've got two, but Fresnetti's not done yet. Diablo calling the Wisconsinite back up to his feet. Nice drop kick. However, Ralph very quickly repeats the same maneuver that he did last time, but just the same as last time, it was a mistake. Nice brainbuster on the part of Diablo. And nice little Sister Abigail variation. This could be it. We've got two, and there it is. Ralph Fresnetti makes the same mistake twice. Rolls out of the ring and back into the waiting arms of El Diablo. And the Luchador takes his win. To answer your question, Damacons, no. Ralph Fresnetti cannot avoid throwing away another match. Anger does not pay off for him in this situation. It failed him against Chris Dalton. Just too much offense found in quick succession onto Fresnetti. And there is the end.
Here is your winner,
Awful bomb noted. Eliza, Harold, Eliza. For me to do stuff, please don't hit me. I make no promises. I will hit you today. That's my promise. However, we have made a lot of progress in through the match card here tonight. Next match up, we're going to be headed over to the Women's Ascendant Division, and it is going to be Vivi Strides taking on Ralph Fred. I went up the, but not up going against Ralph Fresnetti. He just fought a match going up against Elise Vaughn. Vivi picked up a bit of a surprise win not super long ago up against Yuri Yasukawa. What is happening here? There we go. Harold, I will hit you with a terminal trigger. Why are you all threatening me? Why am I being threatened? What did I do? Especially, I'm here because I have an app that tells me when he's doing something stupid. Especially when he's looking at something he's not supposed to. God. That sounds like a non-toxic relationship. this shouldn't. It's not surprising. I'm just. Why am I being hit?
The following is scheduled for one fall, making her way to the ring from Albuquerque, New Mexico, VV Styles!
It is VV Strides. Picked up a very big win in her debut just before Blockade up against Yuri Yasukawa. And now looking to continue to find a bit more momentum for herself. But she has to make it through someone that she has a history with. When they both started in TCWC, Vivi and Elise had no love lost between them. Because it's funny thought to hit you with Roxy's finish. Fair enough.
And her opponent from Westminster, Colorado, Ellis Bond!
It's like passing along representatives for not teaching her kayfabe. Over making her way to the ring now, apparently the music of Ridge Holland there. Like, why am I totally blanking on his name? I feel bad. Of Ridge Holland does not want to play at the moment. But Vaughn got off to a very quick start for herself over in BPW. But TCWC's multi-man matches have not been as kind to her as of late. A lot of frustration for Vaughn here. Unfortunately, she was the one pinned by Marcella J when Marcy went on to win that Ascendant Championship from Francine Nguyen at Blockade. And I think Vaughn is going to make doubly sure that she makes up for that defeat with a big win over Strides here tonight. But it's going to be unwise to underestimate Vivi in this match. Vivi matching the approach of Vaughn with a nice combination of strikes, but misjudges that moonsault, and there's a big lariat by Elise. Vaughn cannot quite find what she was looking for, I think. Fighting for control of a hold now, and loses control of it to Strides. Continuing to get torque onto the arm now is Vivi. And this is a surprising turn of events. However, I am unsurprised to see Vaughn get back control of this hold. Between the two of them, I would assume that this kind of maneuver would favor Elise. But so far, Vivi continuously getting back control of this. Harold, let me talk to Harold after the match. I need a break. Jackson is starting to annoy the person playing him. Nice set of strikes, and there is a nice little stun gun from Vivi. Have a good one, Toadstool. Demogod We just went over this. You weren't here to win over this, were you? However, Vivi has got Vaughn back into the ring, looking for the pin attempt now, and we have got a 1. We've got 2, and almost finding a 3. Elise does kick out, but that was damn close. Vivi finds a nice clothesline off of the ropes and strides up to the top rope. Might be looking to make a final stride from up there. Finds another big clothesline. And now we saw this take out Yuri not long ago, but Elise cannot even keep the strength to continue getting up. Falls back down, but kicks out. Was that a bait? It looks like it was. Elise managing to make the best of that situation. Convinces Vivi that she has got nothing left. Kicks out and now going to work. Big kick to the back of the neck into a nice little sliding suplex. Elise eyeing up Vivi as she rises back up to her feet. And there's a nice clothesline, but the ref is taken out alongside it. Vivi trying to roll out of the ring, but blocked more or less by the referee. However, popping her back in. Nice maneuver out of Elise. Using the ropes to get a suplex that gets Vivi back into the ring and looking for a pin attempt, but cannot find it. However, code of silence now in on Strides. Is this it for Vivi? Strides does make her way out, but just into a waiting set of knee strikes from Vaughn. And now Elise eyeing up Vivi as Strides tries to step back up
Remind
to her feet.
yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
There is the dirge. We have got 1, we've got 2, and there is 3. In a very, very similar style to how Halil picked up his win earlier in the evening. Vivi thinks she's done enough damage, sets up for that Pele kick, but Elise falls back down onto her face. Vivi tries to find the pin, is unable to do so, and so quickly the match got stolen away from Strides. Lined up, and there is the dirge. And that is also the last sound on Vivi's hope for a win here tonight. Elise back in her element in singles competition. I have to make at least one sus comment to stream, and Roxy isn't on the card tonight. So hell, but boy, contract maybe? We'll talk after the show, my friend Jackson. We'll talk after the show. Contract talk is not for table talk. However, I require water. I forgot my water bottle elsewhere, so I'm going to get the next match set up, which will be a visit over to the Skyline Division. And it will be Chris Dalton versus Kurt Outlaw. But I will have to disappear for a moment after this match gets arranged. I'll make doubly sure that I am not the one in control of anyone. Just so we're all in agreement. It says spectate match. Yes. Yes. I'll be back in just a moment.
The following is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring, representing the Outlaws. From Rapid City, South Dakota, weighing in at 235 pounds, one half of the Universal Tag Team Champions, Christopher Dalton. And his opponent from Nashville, Tennessee, weighing in at 252 pounds, Kurt Outlaw.
Apologies. The bathroom turned into an adventure. And that is a big beef boy. Who wins this? Did a Hurricanrana win the match? Yes, a Hurricanrana won the match.
Here is your winner,
Sorry that I missed the whole thing. That turned into more of an adventure than I imagined. Well, Kurt Outlaw picking up the win up against Chris Dalton. I can't even be Jackson right now. I don't have anything to say. However, next match up, we're going to be headed over to the Escalation Division. It is going to be NTG taking on Azrael Ramirez. To be fair, didn't miss much. Was it that bad of a match? Was it that bad of a match? Blitz, you're making me want cereal. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't need to eat more food. I need to be able to reduce my calories. Wait, not increase it. I don't know because I'm this. Fair enough. Pumpkin spice flavored Special K. What is? I need to remember. I need to remind myself what Special K is. It's been a bit. Okay. I now remember what Special K is.
It's scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from St.
It's like Honey Bunches of Oats.
Minnesota, weighing in at 191 pounds, Nate the Great.
However, looking to finally get solid momentum for himself here in the circuit, it is going to be Nate the Great. Former member of the Great Ones, Sai has still been waiting to remake his appearance at ringside. I think he has a bit of a vacation on his plate at the moment. But one way or another, with or without Sai at ringside, NTG becoming more and more of a force to be reckoned with every week. Those are fighting words for NTG. You're lucky the Frog Boy ain't here. Where's Frog Boy? We need Frog Boy.
And his opponent from Valencia, Spain, weighing in at 201 pounds, El Numero Uno, Azrael Ramirez.
Azrael, unfortunately, as of just last night, lost his AAW Cruiserweight Championship. And Azrael cannot be pleased. One way or another, Ramirez would love to find some more momentum for himself. but can he do it up against someone he has failed to defeat before? Or will this be the beginning of a new win streak for the Spanish Eagle? NTG finding a nice little takedown to start this match off, but Azrael catches him into a grapple, something that I'm betting he was hoping he'd be able to get an advantage over, but unfortunately loses control of that relatively quickly. There's a little bit of apparent gray. I don't think it's actually gray. Ramirez has a very punchable face. Many of my characters have very punchable faces. I specialize in punchable faces. Have you seen mine? Nate in control of this match for the moment. However, looking for a grapple to put the finishing touches in on Azrael, but Ramirez very quickly gets control of this exchange. NTG forces his way out of things, and Ramirez does manage to get himself out of dodge. Rather, one of them finding an advantage when it comes into this grapple. Both of them just exchanging control back and forth, and it continues. Stepping back up to his feet, probably hoping to use a bit more strength to get out of this hold. But NTG able to wrench the arm of Ramirez. I do sometimes want to punch in his face as well, but I refrain. Harold especially has one, as shown by Jackson. However, returning the favor for the wrenches onto the arm, it's actually going to be Azrael who gets control of things long term and going straight back after that same arm. And Azrael hoping to kind of repeat what he had at the back end of it. Rolls NTG over and gets him off the ropes. If you have in mind now, finds a nice backbreaker. Kidding. I don't think you're kidding down, Chris. I don't think you're kidding. Set up. Nice little driver. We have got a one almost. Nothing much to write home about just yet, but it's going to be NTG fighting out of the hold and finds a nice moonsault off the ropes. We've got it. No counts on it, though. The Great cannot find that knee strike. Ramirez got him up. However, pops back up on his feet. Nate got Azrael no. Reversal on the Irish whip and drop kicked out to ringside. Ramirez actually maintaining control of things despite that show of agility by NTG. Nate being lined up, and he cannot evade it. Basement dropkick, or as he likes to call it, the Eagles Lance. Ever back up on his feet. He cannot find what he was looking for there, though. Tries to get him rolled up a little bit, but just left on it, catching his legs, and goes for that repeated knee strike. And now knee drop to the head of NTG. Off the ropes goes Azrael, but Ramirez cannot find offense. NTG back in control for the moment, and now Camel Clutch is in. First on the Irish whip, he goes up and over the ropes, and NTG in control of things. Getting the man up and suplex onto the apron. Lot of damage to the back of Ramirez at this point, and there is now blood on his face. And there's a nice corkscrew enziguri. Chucked over into the barricades. NTG popping up to the top rope. Is this done? No. Steps back out. Nice clothesline. However, the count now has been reset. Both of them fighting for control on the outside of the ring. Neither one of them really getting any real momentum. NTG chucks Azrael back across the way. Ramirez slow to rise back up, but NTG resetting the count, not for the first time, finds a nice elbow to the back of Ramirez. NTG is just looking unimpressed, and Azrael is not rising to his feet. Finally, after an extended period down, it is Ramirez finally climbing back up. However, double black mass. This is not the first time that has landed. Is it over? Not this time. Lined up across the way, NTG finds a nice forearm. However, cannot find anything more for now. Being set up, but cannot get him in the corner. NTG fights out of that hold very, very quickly. However, gets reversed on the Irish whip, but catches the leg for the second time. Reversal on the Irish whip yet again. And this time that kitchen sink knee does land. Basement drop kick. It isn't drop kick. Senton does not land. And now calling for him to rise back up to his feet. But cannot quite find him. Whipped over into the corner. And now Azrael cannot quite find what he's looking for. Reverses the Irish whip yet again. And another kitchen sink. Ramirez having none of it. But super kicked as he tries to find the flatliner. And I think the end is looming. The blind side has landed. And I think the great is moving forward. And he is. Hello, Moon. How's it going? Jackson, I expect you to try and punch me in the face again. It's what I pay you for. If we're in matches, that's what you're paid to do. I have a very punchable face, or in whose opinion in the other one. The time will tell if Democrats and Jackson face off. I have to imagine they'll eventually face off, but it's going to be a bit delayed since they are different weight classes. How has tribute been treating you, Moon? I've had some weird situations with it recently. Maybe if Ramirez spent the last time smacking his butt, he may have won. Luckily, not had to deal with that. My problem has been the Motor City Machine Guns. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. lost their lost their identification for their entrances. So everything else is fine. It's just those two specifically. I cannot use anything MCMG related other than their song. I don't really know what happened. However, we are nearing the final matches of the evening. The final three have been reached. And coming up next, it is going to be the Men's Ascendant Championship #1 contender match. Is going to be Darren Blade versus Philip Rex. What was this? What just happened? What? Sorry, I got a little bit thank you for all the support, and it's a 10 out of 10, and I don't know what it's talking about or what's happening. Oh! That's what's happening! Thank you for the subscription with Prime again, Moon. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Thank you. I'm like, what is going on? What is this giving me a notification for? Thank you very much, Moon. It's weird that it's already been that long. Say goodbye to your kneecaps, Struckle Nuts. Who's saying goodbye to their kneecaps? Who's saying goodbye to their kneecaps? What had happened? I'm a scout from you can't just do things. I need context. You in 3 years when you yeah, I'm not gonna lie, part of the reason I'm trying to lose weight now. I like being able to go for walks, thanks.
It's scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from Chicago, Illinois, weighing in at 255 pounds, Blade!
Entering in here first, it is a former Vanquisher champion here in TCWC and a former world champion over in AAW. It is Darren Blade.
Nobody can see.
And his opponent from New York, weighing in at 285 pounds, Philip Rex.
However, a man trying to turn things around for himself. Since the start of this TCWC season, it is Philip Rex. He tried to name himself as the Warden of the Ascendant Division, but very quickly since making that statement back towards the end of the very first season of TCWC. Lost the belt the first time. Had to fight to regain it. And then again, when he mentioned it, dropped that Ascendant Championship to Victor York. Darren gets caught with a charge from Philip Rex early on. However, does not have the strength to take down Philip. Blade's gonna have some work to do to take down the size deficit he is in. So I am currently in the process of making this a little bit prettier. So some of these are not consistently done, but here is the spreadsheets for the divisions. Rex finds a nice combination of strikes onto Darren, and Blade dragged back into the opposite corner. And lobbed back almost into the opposing corner. Blade tries to get himself back up, but just eats another clothesline. Currently, Darren is struggling to get his foot in the door of this match. However, nice stun gun found. Rex back on his feet, though, finds a nice clothesline. Nice stomp to the leg, and now it is going to be Rex calling Darren back up to his feet. He's got him off the ropes. And catches him. No. Blade finds a nice counter. He's been rolled up now by Blade. Harold, you should delete the Fletcher you have right now. I've got to change the menu screen post on the new one that's up. Yeah, I noticed. I noticed. Nice chop across the chest of Blade. And now Darren dragged into the corner yet again. And Philip lining up for a big clothesline. Looking for a one, but only gets that one. Got close to it too, but just could not quite reach it. I think he's snoring because Eliza gave him something, I'm not gonna lie. Philip slamming Blade onto the barricade outside the ring, and there is a brutal 280-pound knee to the head of Blade. I think Eliza gave Jackson something. Going after the arm of Blade still, and we're up to a 6 of 15. Philip rolling him back into the ring, and Rex now stalking a downed Blade. Darren has been struggling to get his foot in the door, and now there's a big power slam. And man is not done yet. Gets him lined up, and there's the tower fall. Blade is down. There's two. But Blade kicks out. And there's one. It was only that one. Darren desperately trying to get some level of control back. However, he's got Philip up, and Rex cannot fight his way out. There's a nice snake eyes. However, fights his way back up to his feet, and now Rex cannot find what he's looking for. Caught on that clothesline, and now Darren finding a nice hip toss. It's stuff like that that when you're awake becomes your own worst enemy. A lot of his own pressure onto his back, and impressive strength from Blade. Military press dropped down, but Phillip continuing to fight. He is not done after that tower fall, and now brought up for another military press slam. This time looking for the pin. We've got one, but again, only a 1 count. However, Phillip trying his best to defend himself from these punches, but there is nothing he can do. Darren heading up to the top rope. Not something we see too often from him, but there's a nice elbow drop. And now Phillip needs to stay aware, but he's brought up. And there's a nice blade bomb. We've got one, there's two, but Phillip Rex kicks out. Nice knee to the head of Blade. And now Rex with a uppercut to the jaw of Blade. Darren lined up, evades that clothesline, and now dragging Phillips back up to his feet. He's got him locked in. Off the ropes he goes, but he cannot find that power bomb. First as it gets him off the ropes and over the top, and now trying to strike him off, and there's actually tossing him back into the ring. Blade trying to get him lined up again. Does he have enough time? He does. Another big snake eyes. But again, Phillip finding back up to his feet from that position. Finds a brutal axe handle to take him down. He's got the man back up, and we know where this is headed. Another big power slam. Looking for the pin. There's one. There's two. But Blade fights on. Some frustration showing on the part of Rex at this point. However, Blade lined up, and it falls a second time. There's one, there's two, there is three. And Phillip Rex has burned his way through Blade to get another rematch up against Victor York. While he may not have been guaranteed one, he has earned one here tonight. But Blade's attempt to take down Rex cannot be understated. He found a very big Blade bomb. I think he was looking for a second one when he got him popped up, but that series of punches stole it away from him. And it takes so much energy to start getting force in onto Rex. I cannot blame him for starting to gas out when that first one was not quite enough. But that is the war when you're up against Rex. You have to keep pushing through him, because it is a war. He can be annoying at times, but he's harmless.
Here is your winner.
Go easy on him. He's excited to face you again. I'm not going to go easy on him in the ring. I won't go after him for sleeping. Very big win for Rex. However, we are headed into a pair of championship matches here to close out the evening. No, Jackson, unfortunately, this is not a dream. You're currently being paid to sleep. Francine Nguyen is going to be attempting to regain her Ascendant Championship, which she lost at Blockade to Marcella Jade. We saw Selena regain her Capital Championship here in the opener of the evening. But can that be repeated for Nguyen? Or is this going to be a walk in the park for the veteran Jade? Oop. Why are we not loading? Why are we not loading? There we go.
The following contest is a 2 out of 3 falls match and is for the Women's Heritage Championship.
Paid to sleep, not what I want to do. I'm not a professional sleeper. I'm a professional wrestler. Also, I feel like there's someone behind me. There probably is someone behind you. Nguyen has been on a war path for a while now. Her very first loss here in this season of TCWC came at Blockade to Jade. She has not been taking shortcuts on her path either, just using her own abilities to get the wins, no cheating on her part. But the Drake Fall will have to find its mark against Jade. But Francine Nguyen is going to be having a frustrated second loss here in this season. I don't want to look behind me. If I don't know who's behind you, neither one of us know, and sometimes ignorance is bliss. However, coming in now to defend this Ascendant Championship, it is Marcella Jade. Why did the images get stripped from all of my titles? What the heck? Okay, I need to relook at all my belts. Why are they all stripped of their logos? What happened? However, Marcella is not here as an Ascendant Champion for the first time. she's going to have to make sure that it was not a fluke and that her veteran status is not just something to bring up as a talking point, but a true factor in how she will find wins. While Jade might not be the tallest of competitors, she is a powerhouse when it comes to her fighting style, making strong use of grapples and strikes.
Introducing the challenger. From
Yeah,
Minneapolis,
you're not wrong.
Dragon Francine Nguyen. And her opponent from Detroit, Michigan, the Women's Heritage Champion, Marcella Jade.
As a reminder, this is best 2 out of 3 pinfalls. Submissions will not play a factor. And both of them do enjoy their own fair share of submissions. Off to a very quick start, it is going to be Jade. But only for a brief moment off the ropes goes Nguyen, and there is a nice moonsault. Nguyen off the ropes again, finding a nice drop kick. Francine in control for the moment, but there's a nice counter from Jade. Set up in the corner, and now Francine needing to find a counter, and she does so. Jade set up and finding her own set of elbows to the jaw of Nguyen. Control going back and forth between them, but Francine fights out of that hold. But Francine cannot stay in control. Jade trying to find a bit of a grapple here, one that I would imagine would go in her favor, and unsurprisingly, it does. Much stronger here is Jade between the two of them. While Marcella and her might appear to be the same level of strength, looks can be very, very deceiving, because unfortunately for Jade, she was not blessed with the good genetics of muscle toning. However, Francine needs to get back in control of things, because if she cannot continue to find these flying maneuvers, Jade has a huge advantage. And getting planted onto the ground is exactly what she does not want. Jade looking to get some more wear down onto Nguyen, but she's lost control of this hold. She should have just tried to find a little bit more offense in a traditional manner, and now it is Francine who's finding a lot of torque onto the arm of Jade, and this is going to dissuade her from both going for the Jade Hammer and the fading dreams. And now Hammerlock still locked in, and it's nice little slam down from Nguyen. Jade sent over into the corner, and Nguyen looking a little bit indecisive. Does hit her up across the top rope, but gets kicked away. Nice maneuver out of Nguyen. Whether Marcella, a nice now roll up from Jade. Whether onto Jade. I'm losing track of names. Nice drop kick by Francine. And now on the outside of the ring, the D-winger has been locked in. But Marcella powering her way out relatively quickly. Took a little bit longer than I think she would have hoped, but she did prevent it from getting seriously locked in. And now whipped straight into that barricade, and she cannot fight her way back into any control. As I speak, though, repeated attempts at countering do eventually pay off for Marcella. Big chop across the chest, and now set up for a nice little Russian leg sweep. May have made contact with the apron. I'm not quite sure from up here. Now Francine up from the top rope. What does she have in mind? Nice little hurricanrana. Jade rolling out to try and find some air. However, setting up but cannot land that dropkick. Falls just short and thrown across the ring by that suplex attempt. Jade in control for the moment, but there's strike fall. Is it enough for the first fall? There's one, there's two, there's no. First fall is not yet here. But Nguyen forced to fight out a hold from Jade. Marcella fighting out to return the favor. Currently in control is Jade, and she does land that dropkick. Headed up to that top rope. Marcella, what does she have in mind? Big pair of axe handles. And now sets up for a nice little floating neckbreaker. Looking for the pin now. We have got a one, but only going to be that one. That has got to be frustrating for Jade. There's an amazing amount of cheese in the world. What does that mean? Do you know of America's cheese tunnels? Because that's a fun fact. Jade lining up Nguyen for a nice Falcon Arrow. Now going after the hand and arm of Nguyen. Francine losing pace at the moment. The veteran Jade has outlasted Marcella, or outlasted Francine for now. And now her dreams of regaining that Ascendant Championship might be fading fast. It is actually Marcella giving up that sleeper hold, knowing that she cannot get a pin with it in this match type. Rolled over. Jade Hammer has fallen, and there is blood on the face of Francine. We've got one, we've got two, but still no first fall. If you run into a wheelchair and it loses its wheels, does it just become a chair? Can it still stand, or does it, or were the wheels part of its structural base? Drake Fall has landed a second time. We have got a one, we've got a two, and there is a three. First fall in this match goes to Nguyen. However, nice counter found by Jade. Got her off the ropes. Cannot quite find that dropkick though. Nguyen got her off the ropes. Francine have in mind. Nice drop kick. Marcella desperately trying to get set up in the ropes. But punted out to the side with that shoulder tackle. It is currently one fall in favor of Nguyen, 0 falls in favor of Jade. It has no wheels anymore, and it doesn't stand, but you can still sit in it. Outside of the ring, it's being locked in. The D-Winger is in, and Marcella is not able to fight out of it. But Francine does give up the hold. But there's a nice counter by Jade. Francine chucked into the barricade, and now Jade whipping her back into it. I'll put it this way. If the chair isn't standing, I don't think it really counts as a chair. There's no reason a balance beam has to be high off the ground. You're not wrong. Looking for a pin now is Jade. She's really hoping that exhaustion has become a factor, and it has. One fall to one now. Jade being called up by Nguyen. I think Francine may have been trying to call it up. However, Drake fall is countered. And now reversal on the Irish whip. It is going to be Jade needing another drop kick. However, nice strike. Trying to set us up in the corner is Nguyen. Desperately trying to get some much needed space, but whipped into the ring post and now left. No! Fights her way back up to her feet, now off the ropes, but that moonsault was not found. Has to find another counter for herself, and now setting up Jade. Marcella falls. Nice snake eyes. There is a nice kick across the jaw of Jade. Nguyen has a lot to prove right now. Can she outlast Jade here? He's got her up across the top rope, fighting her way up. She's got it lined in. And another Drake fall. This has taken a lot out of her, and she cannot go for the pin. Marcella's dragged herself into the corner, but there's a nice maneuver. However, the Jade Hammer has landed. Is this it for Nguyen? It is! She sacrificed her own back, could not find the pin off of that Drake fall, and Marcella Jade is still your Ascendant Champion. I think we may have just gotten our match of the night. But a very well-earned win. Neither competitor can come out of that too frustrated. Both of them broken open. Both of them put through hell.
Here is your winner, and still Women's Heritage Champion, Marcella Jade.
But Jade is your champion. And a fun fact for those keeping track, that is the first Ascendant match that has gone 2-1 this entire season. It has been defended 4 times. That is the first one that went 2-1. me just a moment to update the champion news. What are all of these fun facts, Blitz? If James Bond is the most famous spy, wouldn't that be? Yeah, he's the worst spy there. Nothing is on fire. Fire is on things. At one point in your life, you were exactly pi years old. I kind of hate that. I think that might be good on the shower thoughts. Welcome to Shower Thoughts with the Danger. For some reason, Welcome to Shower Thoughts with the Danger sounds like something that would be on like Veggie Tales, like Welcome to Shower Thoughts with Larry the Cucumber. However, after that war, we are headed on to our main event of the evening, where it is going to be Damocos Anderson attempting to regain his Escalation Championship from Yamashita. I think that one wins on the Shower Thoughts Blitz. Crabs probably think that fish can fly. I think that wins. I think we can go away from the Shower Thoughts at this point, because I think that one wins. You tell me to stop. Do I ever stop doing anything? Because it's impossible to do nothing. The Shower Thoughts are becoming more and more convoluted.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Damocos Anderson looking very, very confident with himself. Damocos with this man is a man. I don't know, sir. I was not expecting that entrance, I'm sorry. If I was expecting it, that would be one thing. I was not expecting that. However, after Damocos Anderson's swift entrance to begin this Pride Month, it is going to be Hu Yamashita, whose belt has now disappeared again, coming out to defend his Escalation Championship. It's because it's not. What did I just witness? You just witnessed a twink. That's what you just witnessed. It's fine. Why is the belt gone? Give me back my belts.
Introducing the challenger from Worcester, Massachusetts, weighing in at 200 pounds, Dean Anderson!
It's supposed to be Sanderson. No.
And his opponent from Kyoto, Japan, weighing in at 201 pounds, the Cruiserweight Champion, Q Yamashita!
If who wins the same Pride? Okay, you win for tonight. You win for tonight, Democrats. I can't. If who wins the same? I can't even commentate. God damn it. What have you done to me, Hope? It was even where I was in control. Yay. Me in the center of the ring, it is Damocos and Hu. Very quickly, they are going straight into a grapple fest with each other. At Blockade, this matchup went the way of Yamashita. However, on the season between them, they are 1-1. Whoever wins tonight kind of becomes the victor of this impromptu best of 3. You got the best shower thought of the night, Blitz. I think Damocons gets the best comment of the night. Yamashita in control of the exchange for the moment. However, straight back into it. Yamashita really trying to wear down Damocos. However, Anderson gets out of that hold relatively quickly. Goes back into it and stays in control of it, but it is broken up in the corner. Clean breakup, however, nice combination of strikes out of Damocos. Gets him out of the way of that roundhouse kick, and yet again does so. It's knee strike out of Damocos. And now dragging Hu up for a nice knee strike to the head. And we're looking for a bit more, but he actually finds a nice pair of knees to the back to get himself out of dodge. And Yamashita, nice little arm drag. Immediately calling Damocos back up to his feet. Finds a nice set of strikes into that dragon screw. Taking out the legs of Anderson is a relatively good strategy, but still not the one I would prefer against him. Purely because if he cannot get a grip on you, he cannot try and go for the villain lock or the dangerous Prince Bomb, though. It has been a long time since those were the modus operandi for the Dangerous Prince. Looking for the pin now, though, is who? He's somewhere exhaustion has become a factor and does get a nice 2 count. Nice throw outside of the ring. However, tossed off to the side, and now repeated knee strikes. Anderson in control for the time being. He would love to get that Cruiserweight Championship back onto his waist. However, dragged up to his feet and tossed back into the ring. Anderson got Who back up on his feet. Takes his time to decide how he wants to continue. However, set up for a nice little neck breaker. And now up from the top rope goes Anderson. Nice coup de grace. But he's not even looking for the pin. Instead, calling for Who to get back up to his feet. There's a nice knee stroke. And now Who lined up. Cold shot on the way. But sometimes calling your shot means people are prepared. And now Yamashita, nice pair of forearms, gets a nice little, I believe, what kind of, what do they call that? It's not a Pele kick, but Pele kick. And now lined up for the welcome to Kyoto. There's 2, but it's not gonna be 3. That knee strike has knocked people out, and we have seen that move take out Anderson before. There's 1, there is 2, but Anderson survives for now. Anderson sent off the ropes, but cannot find him is Yamashita. However, neither one of them really finding a true advantage here. Blondicos is gone, by the way. Damn you, Rhodes. Oh, nice. No. Axe handle evaded by Anderson, and now it is Who off the ropes, but gets countered and a suplex found for Who. Yamashita in control for the moment. However, that moonsault does not land. And looking for a second time is Anderson. This time the cold shot finds its mark. And he's not done playing. Off the ropes finds another nice knee strike. Not sure what he was looking for there. Potentially he was trying to set up a villain lock, but it was a solid counter out of Yamashita. Damakos back up to his feet, and Who, debating how he wants to continue, goes for a nice combination of strikes, and there is a big knee across the head. Slam back down. Who trying to get Damakos dragged into the center of the ring. Have to wonder how he's debating how he wants to continue, but he gets rolled up by Anderson. Into Who we have a new champion. Not yet. Nice clothesline found by Anderson. Challenger coming back with a nice series of knees. But is it going to be enough? He's calling Who back up to his feet, but this is a dangerous maneuver. Nice. Drop kick. Drop back up to his feet. Got Who off the ropes, and there's another cold shot. This time looking for the pin. Is Who out for the count? There's 2. There is 3. The impromptu best of 3 ends. And in the rematch for the Escalation Championship. Damikos Anderson regains the Cruiserweight Escalation Championship. I am so amazed that Yamashita did not use resiliency. I have to imagine he had it available.
Cruiserweight champion,
Damikos regains the Escalation Championship. He remembered his Pride Month, so the twink had to go over. I like that shower thought, Blitz. When my dog brings me the same toy, I wonder if it's his favorite toy or if he thinks it's my favorite toy. However, with us now reaching this point, we have reached the end of TCWC's Melee for this week. To do the usual rundown that I always try and do of the card. In the opener, Selena Shade took down Zafia Griffin to win her rematch for the Skyline Championship. Halil Aydin defeated Damian Morris after Damian Morris unfortunately missed his moonsault, and Aydin then took complete control. Casey Lee defeated Danny Fonseca. The Davishon Dynasty were defeated by the Kabuki Cutthroats. Actually, no, correction. Reverse that. In my head, the match ended a different way than it actually did. It was a Davishon guillotine that ended the match in favor of the Davishon Dynasty, and they defeated the Kabuki Cutthroats. El Diablo took down Ralph Fresnetti. Vivi Strides was unfortunately unable to overcome Elise Vaughn. Chris Dalton was swiftly defeated by Kurt Outlaw. NTG and Azrael Ramirez continue to have wars in the early part of the Escalation division, but NTG continues to come out ahead. Philip Rex wins the #1 contender match to go up against Victor York next week for the Men's Ascendant Championship. Francine Nguyen unfortunately unable to regain the Ascendant Championship from Marcella Jade, and Jade goes home with the Ascendant Championship. and Damakos Anderson takes down Yamashita in tonight's main event to both win the impromptu best of 3 and go home with the Escalation Championship. However, that is where we call it for this evening. As a reminder for how things are going to be rolling for June, tomorrow we will have Tussle, and then coming up in 3 weeks' time, roughly, it is going to be on Thursday, the 19th of June. It's going to be Northern Voyage. But I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the evening. I am going to go send us over to Raid Seaside. He's playing some Tom Clancy's The Division. I know it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, so if you wish to part ways, I understand. But I want to go show him some support because he's very consistently been very supportive of me. So, see you guys there, or see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of the night, and I will catch you guys in the next matchup and the next evening. So let's do this thing, shall we? Can I get to Seaside's channel, though? There we go.